Hey time travelers, it's Damien, creator of Genesis, the world's first time travel game. I want to discuss a little bit about the basics of the game, so those who have the decks out there or who, in the future who purchase the cards, they'll know how to play. Now this is a two-player game, and each player chooses one of the immortals, and each immortal will have 33 resources and 33 cards in their deck. Now, there are 9 immortals here that are specific, meaning you can build a deck around them, and then there are 4 immortals that are universal, meaning you use those immortals to use their cards to put in the other deck. So for example, the Sun is a universal card, meaning Sun cards go in the other immortals decks. And also there is over here, you have Shadow, Star, and Villain. These are also universal cards. So any cards that are within those 4 immortals, you can use in all of the other immortal decks that we have. The villain actually is unique. So the villain's kind of cool because you can craft a villain deck all by itself, and then you can use other universal cards inside the villain deck, or you can use just the villain, or you can use villain cards as universal cards for the other 9 immortals. Now, the other 9 immortals, we're going to go into those here in just a quick second, but I just wanted to share with you that this particular game has 698 cards, so it's a massive game. And again, there's 13 immortals. 9 of those immortals you build decks around, and then you'll see up here, let me see if I can get to it here. You'll see that I have the different decks for each one of the immortals shown. And then I'm going to open one for you to kind of give you an idea of what's in the deck. So there are 33 cards, like I said, within the deck. So here's what a deck looks like. Kind of gives you an idea. And then there's the 33 cards inside. Actually, there's going to be more. I'll share that with you in a second. But you have the immortal that doesn't count as one of the 33 cards. But then you have its specific deck. And then there are also the universal cards within the deck. So see how Sun is a universal. So you can have Sun cards. You can have Shadow cards. You can have Villain cards. And then this is a boss card. One of the things about Genesis, the world's first time travel game, is you're allowed to have 2 copies of any card except for boss cards. Boss cards are, and Nexus cards are cards you can only have 1 copy of in each. Now, there are cards in Genesis, the world's first time travel game, that produce other cards. Now, you'll have what's called a secondary deck that is a support deck that goes with your primary 33 card deck. The support deck is there because there's ancillary cards that are produced from other cards. So those don't count towards your 33 card deck, but they are important to have because when you play cards, you need to ensure that, you guys can keep track of everything. So I wanted to share that with you. So you have 33 resources. The object of the game actually is to reduce your opponent's immortal from 33 resources down to 0 before they do the same to you. So all of the immortals, they do come with 33 resources. So I wanted to share that aspect with you as well. Now I want to kind of go over with you the immortals and their powers. I feel like this is important because in the world's first time travel game, it's based on a new model of reality. It's an elemental consciousness model of reality. This is the future of how we're going to be communicating with people from different lands, and how our new sciences and our new energy systems are coming online here soon, and how we're going to reorganize our future civilization is going to be around this type of model of reality, this elemental consciousness model. And so we really need to fine tune ourselves to this, in my opinion. So this game helps teach you that. And one thing you'll find about this game is there is no death in the game. You do remove cards and you use elements themselves in that process, but there is an element on the cards, which is the element of fire. And here, I'll show you the Valentine's Day card because it's Valentine's Day yesterday. And I'll be posting this later in the week, but I thought this would be appropriate. So you'll see that down here in the corner, there's fire. This corner, there is water. Up here is earth, and up here is air. Earth is how much a card costs to play. So this particular card costs 2 Earth to play. And then it has 5 fire, which is really good because when you collect a certain number of fire, when cards are removed from play, again, they're not killed, right? There's no death. When cards are removed from play, you can use fire for tournaments, events, and for the advanced side of the game to resurrect, bring back, or pull from your discard pile and put it back into your deck. You can do this by continuing gameplay. So wanted to share that with you. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. This is a Mars card. Every single one of the Immortals actually has a holiday associated to them. So you'll probably like that, enjoy that. Like we had Christmas and that was Saturn and here recently. And, we'll go into that more detail later on, but let's get back to the game. One of the things that I wanted to share is there are 9 Immortals that you actually can choose from. So we're going to start with the first one, which is Uranus. And why this is important, I just kind of want to go over. If you choose Uranus as your Immortal, it costs 2 Earth. Each one of these has a special power, I should say, that costs 2 Earth for each, and they can do unique things. So Uranus's special ability is you can add a 1 air. I'll show it to you actually. You can add, for 2 Earth. So you can add a 1 air, 1 water, 1 fire knight into play. Now there are in the game there are 6 spaces. Let me show you that. There are 6 spaces on each side of the board for each player. There's no more than 6. You can't have more than 9 cards in your hand. That's the maximum number of cards. Any cards that you have in your hand that are more than 9 get discarded into the discard pile. What you have in front of you, you'll have your Immortal in front of you. You'll have on your right side, you'll have your draw cards. And then next to that, you'll have your secondary cards if you have that. And on your left side, you'll have your discard pile. On the left side, you'll have your weapons or your secrets pile because you can play those as well and attach them to your Immortal. But we'll get into that. I don't want to make it too complicated. But then after that, you have your discard pile. So I just wanted to give you an idea of how the setup works in front of you, and your opponent has the same thing. You each have 33 resources, and then your job is to knock down their resources. And every single turn, you do get more what's called Earth to play with. Your first turn, you have 1 Earth. Your second turn, you have 2 Earth, and you go to a maximum of 12 Earth on turns 12 and above. And because every card costs a certain amount of Earth to play. So I'll show you here again. This particular card costs 2 Earth. This is the special card that's only Uranus has, right? That's his special ability that we went over just for a second. But then we went over this one. This one costs 2 Earth as well. So I want to give you an idea on that part of it. Now, Uranus, since he's the first, he is the first Immortal, and he does the 1/1 Knight. Then his special abilities is authority and law. So in the elemental hypertech system of reality, this new model of reality, it's important that we understand what authority and law mean to us and how we instituted it for ourselves. But his lesson is pride. This is his boss card. So we have to be careful here. This is where Uranus struggles. And this is how you win the game with Uranus, is to go through this part. So anyway, wanted to give that part to you. So it takes a lot of responsibility to play Uranus. The next one is the Sun. The Sun, again, is universal, and his strengths are order and perspective. And his weakness is going to be temptation and transgression, right? And so you must know thyself to pass the trials of the Sun, right? So there's the Sun, a universal card. So his cards get to go in everybody else's decks. He doesn't have his own specific deck because he's special that way. Now, what's really interesting is you'll notice that every one of these Immortals is actually associated to you somehow in your chakra systems. So Uranus is in white, and he's the crown chakra. You have the Sun in purple. He's the third eye in the senses chakra. And then you have Neptune. Neptune is next. And Neptune, she's in blue. She's the throat chakra. She's the voice of truth, right? This is why she's important. She's like the richest of all the Immortals, because one of the things too is every single game will have or every single mortal, I should say, will have a money card, just like in real life, right? We all have to have money to get around. So, and Neptune provides that to all of the immortals. Now, if you go second in the game, you get a money card, not first. We all start with 3 cards each, and then you can mulligan those cards, by the way. The very first turn, you can look at them. If you don't like what you see, you can mulligan up to 3 of them and draw 3 more. But the second player gets a 4th card, which is the money card. And we call this I call it the catch-up card, because sometimes player 1 gets like a really good hand to start with and player 2 doesn't, and they can get out of hand really fast. And so we created the money card in order to play catch-up and also give kind of, I don't know, I want to say like a little bit of an advantage to player 2, because in life, it always seems like player 1 seems like it's the advantage. So just to add a little flavor to it, there's that for gameplay. But anyway, so regarding Neptune, her deck, she commands like she's like, again, the richest. So she commands like the currents and the waves and fortune and purity. And then for 2 earth, what you can do is you can reduce 1 water or resource from any other character or immortal. So that's her special ability. Now there are optional rules for tournaments and events as well, but that go into the fire and things. But again, we already kind of talked a little bit about that. So, and one of the things, one of the things I want to mention about Neptune and how she's special within the elemental hypertech realm of reality is that she also is the throne of the spirit at the throat. And this is where every word passes and where every piece of food that you eat enters into. So this is a very important part, because this is where your spirit is. So, choose wisely with Neptune. And also for her, you have to beware her boss is wrath. So beware wrath with Neptune. Okay, next, let's go into Venus. Now, Venus is in green and it's at the heart chakra, right? So we want to associate these to our body systems, because that's what elemental hypertech is about in this new consciousness of reality that we're going to be moving into, because we're going to need to be incorporating these aspects harmoniously, right? That's what the game is about harmony. But with Venus, she's the most alluring of the immortals, right? She's the most beautiful, and her abilities is health and commitment to the cause. And one of the things for her is her downfall is envy, so we have to be careful with that. That's what she needs to work on. So if you play Venus, this is her boss card. So anyway, for 2 earth, what you can do with her is you can either restore 2 water or 2 resource to any unhealthy character or immortal. Now, this is a limitation that she does have, because if you have full 33 resources for your immortal, you can't give more resources to the immortal, but you can keep that immortal healed up to 33 resources. In the same turn, if you have a character that is fully healthy, you can't add additional water, but you can restore them with 2 water. So I just wanted to bring that up. That is one of the limitations that she does have, and that's a question that came up during gameplay from people who play. So I wanted to let you guys know that's how that part works. You'll notice that if I'm talking a lot here, it's because there's a lot of questions that have come up from other players of the game, and I'm trying to answer those within this video as well, because if you guys are having these questions, I'm sure other people in the future will have the same questions. But let's go to number 5, Jupiter within the game, and he's full of energy, and he's in yellow at the solar plexus chakra. Okay, now I like to think Jupiter is unstoppable with his activity and expansion, because that's what he's all about. He's all about movement and purpose and life. So his strategy is very powerful in a sense, because he likes to just attack. But one of his challenges is actually laziness, right? That's what his boss card is, sloth. And so hesitation could be his downfall. So for 2 earth, though, you can reduce any immortal resource by 2. So he doesn't attack characters of other immortals. What he does is for 2 earth, he can reduce other immortals. So that's how powerful he is. He doesn't like to go for the little guys, the characters, right? Or the minions, or whatever you want to call them. What he likes to go after is the minions for the the villain, but characters for everybody else. But what he likes to do is go directly after the Immortal itself. So that's Jupiter. I wanted to share that part with you. And then he's in yellow, the solar plexus. And then what we'll do is we'll go to number 6, which is Mercury. And he's the master of change in orange. And this is the sacral chakra, right? Now, Mercury is the fastest and the smartest of all. He has like this boost ability that lets him basically borrow from the future. And he gives him extra powerful cards. But then later on, he doesn't have as much Earth to spend because he borrowed that money from the future, so to speak, because it's all about technology and tools for him. So now his weakness is gluttony. So that's his boss card. So, he likes to do everything and he likes to, tinker with everything. So we got to be careful with Mercury. He does have a forge deck, which is pretty powerful because you'll notice that each one of these immortals actually has a deck for themselves, right? So you can choose, you can choose a deck that has these. Now, with Mercury, he does have a few extra cards within his deck. I'll show you those real quick because he's got a special ability, which is for 2 Earth, you can add, 1 of 4 random idols into play. And so I'll kind of just show you that here real quick. The first one is air. Now, oops, sorry. Let me get that. The first one is, there we go. The first one is air. And if you play the air idol, what it does, it gives you an artifact upgrade +1. What that means is that there are cards in the deck that are artifacts that you can use that are one-time use cards, and you can use them on characters, or you can use them against immortals, all sorts of things. But what happens is that any artifact you can have +1. It adds +1 air to that, so that way it does more damage to the card. Now, air does damage to water, and water is reduced every time it's hit, and it's not brought back unless you have a card that brings back the water. And once water reaches 0, those cards are removed from play. But this gives artifact upgrade +1, meaning that you have 1 extra damage per per your artifact. So that's a powerful one. And when this idol goes into play, this is a 0/2, so it does take 2 water to be removed from play. So this idol does stay in play. And since you only have 6 spaces, you have to be careful. You don't want to use up all your spaces unless you have cards that buff up this one. And Mercury does have cards that do that. This was a very difficult Immortal to create because it's complicated in a sense because it has all these idol cards. Another idol that it has is the idol of water, and it's a 0/2, and so 2 water on this one. And every time at the end of your turn, at the end of your turn, you restore 1 water to all friendly characters. So that's pretty powerful as well. And then you have the Earth idol, which is a 0/2 as well. And this has block. And what block means is that you have to attack this card before you can attack any other card. If it has, any card that has block has to be struck first and the water reduced from those first before any other card can be reduced. Then there is the fire, and fire is a fire idol is a 1/1, meaning it has 1 air, so it can strike other cards, and then it has 1 water, which means if it does strike, and then it can lose its water too. But it also has priority, and priority means it doesn't have summoning sickness, so you can actually play this right away, right? Because it doesn't have the cooldown effect like all the other cards do. So that's a good one as well. So those are, oops, can you see that? Hopefully they can say that. So those are all the cards on Mercury. So he teaches innovation and how to be successful. Let me see if I can fix this. There we go. Sorry about that. Got my coffee cup in there. Kind of wanted to show you all those. Okay, so I'll try and run through this quickly. I don't want to make this video too long. I can see it's already 20 minutes. I'm talking a lot here, so this is going to be a long one. Next, we have Mars. He's about devotion and protection. And for 2 Earth, you can load up Mars with armor. Now, armor is not resource, and armor is removed first before resource is removed. So, and by the way, there's no limit to the amount of armor Mars can carry. That was a question somebody had. You can just armor. So he can get really strong. So anybody playing Mars, don't let his armor get out of control because, it could dominate just because you can't do enough damage to him. So he's very powerful, and Lust is his boss card. I'm going to try and go through these quickly, guys, because I'm already talking way too much. But I'll do more of these. Now, what I want to do is then that one is the root chakra, right? Because Mars is the warrior in red, number 7. But now what I want to do is I want to go dive deep into the hidden chakras within the time travel game. Now this, if you guys listen this long, we're 20 minutes in. If you guys listen this long, hopefully this will be very powerful for you for moving forward into the future, because these are things I've talked about in the past, but it's still a hidden science, but we're going to release it here again today. So we're going to talk about number 8, Pluto. He's the judge in brown. And now what this is this is actually your balance chakra in the butt and thighs. So this is chakra number 8. So here's your secret chakras. Now, Pluto is about fashion and entertainment, and his strength is discernment, judgment, and of course, presentation, right? That's all about how do you present yourself. Right now with him, his weakness is regret. Okay, so regret is what he struggles with and he needs to work on, and the traumas that he has. And so once he bests that, you best Pluto, right? So and now what for him, for 2 Earth, you can equip a 1 Air, 2 Strength weapon for your immortal. Now let me answer a few questions on that. You can only use the weapon once per turn, unless the card states otherwise, of course, right? And every new weapon played will destroy any old weapons equipped that still have strength remaining. In other words, you can only have 1 weapon at a time. This is a question that came up, so we'll have to change the rules to add that in there. But unlike secrets, right? Secrets, you can have as many as you like, and as long as it doesn't conflict or double up with each other, right? You can only have 1 secret of each kind. And so I kind of wanted to share that with you on Pluto. And then now let's go to Moon. And then Moon is like your navigator, your guide, your compass, and it's all about awareness. And she has a certainty deck, which is there. And her certainty deck is it's all about adaptability and choices, and helps you evolve in the game. Now, her greatest weakness is ignorance. Okay. Oh, and by the way, she's number 9 in gray. And for the people who are interested in the chakras, she is the support chakra, which is the knees and shin. Okay. And that's an important part of that. So I'll call that the support chakra. Now for 2 Earth, you can equip a 1 Air, 1 Strength weapon, and you can receive 1 armor, because she has a lot of choices. So she's an important one. She's a quiet one. She's not as popular as the other ones, but man, I think she's so cool, like what she can do, because she has so many choices. So she can really adapt well to the gameplay. Oh, and one of the things about in the time travel game is there's future games that I have invented, and the Moon has a very special ability in the future games that you guys will see, where it's like a planetary domination kind of thing. But anyway, she has the ability to take her turn anytime she wants. So when the next game is when they all can play. Instead of a 2-player game, it's all 13 players. You can go up to 13 players, but she gets to choose the turn that she wants, whenever she wants. So I'm going to share that with you. Okay. Gosh, it's getting long. Okay. And ignorance was her thing. Next, let's look at Saturn. Saturn is the architect of destiny, and he's in black in all your works, and he's the control chakra. He's actually at your feet. This is where Saturn is in black. Okay. So feet are black, gray at the shins, brown at the thighs and buttocks, right? And then, of course, you have red at the sacral, all the way up to white, which is Uranus at the crown. So you guys already know those ones. But anyway, so Saturn is number 10, and he's the most disciplined, and he's about performance and achievement. And one of the things for 2 Earth, you can reduce 2 resources from your immortal. Okay, you can reduce 2 resources from him, and if you do that, you get to draw an extra card for that. So he uses his own resources as ways to see if he can find new cards to challenge his opponents. And then now, one of the things about Saturn that's really cool is greed. Oops, let me get that. We'll put that with the Moon. Greed is his challenge. But one of the things he's learned is that there is no debt in the universe, and only balance is in time. And so karma was what he had to learn the hard way. So there's his on number 10. Now let's talk about the other universal decks real quick. You have Shadow. He's universal, meaning, again, that you can use Shadow cards in any deck. Now, Shadow strength is correction and discovery. Now, his weakness is obedience, okay? And you know, you don't want to live the life of others and not living your own life. You want to do so with unflinching, daring boldness, right? This is kind of what Shadow teaches. And so you must love humanity to pass the trials of Shadow. All right. And then you got number 12, the Star. And this is Rainbow. Shadow is a transparent color, right? Because he's the prime companion. Sorry, I should have told you that. And he's the shade chakra. Okay. So Saturn was the control chakra. And then number 11, Shadow, is the shade chakra. And then you have Star, which is the harmony chakra. And this is the rainbow full spectrum color chakra that you possess. Okay. This is, again, a universal deck, meaning you can use any star card in any crafted deck, right? Now, his strengths are influence, lifestyle, and legacy. But his problem is hate. So you got to be careful, you know. So you got to master the star, but it takes talent and skill in order to do that. And then the last one, of course, we saved the best for last. And if you've listened this long, I think we're like almost, 26, 27 minutes into it. We have the villain, number 13. And again, this is you can either use the villain as your own, you can craft your own deck with the villain, and you can use other universal cards within that villain deck. And yes, that's a question that came up, and I wanted to make sure you guys knew the answer to that. But within the villain deck, or you can use them as universal cards. So use other universal cards within it if you like. But what's unique is this is the catalyst of chaos, right? And the color, the chakra color, is patina. And with this one, this is the color of reckoning and what I call the urge chakra. And so this villain is so unique in that sense. Now, for 2 Earth, what you can do with this one, if you do use this as a deck instead of as universal cards, for 2 Earth, you have a choice. You can either gain 2 armor, like Mars, which fortifies, your Immortal's defenses, your villain Immortal's defenses, or you can sacrifice 2 of your resources, like what Saturn does, and you can draw an extra card. You can decide each turn which one. You don't have to stick to one per game. That was a question that came up, so I wanted to answer that for you. You actually have a choice. So that adaptability is super important, because the villain strengths is actually, and this is really important for the future, I need you to hear me, competition. Competition is our future, and we have to play a role in that, we have to participate in that at some level. And there are, you want to be super good at that to enjoy the future. So this is what the villain teaches. Okay. So, evolution is another important part, and struggle. Struggle helps sharpen you. So this is the relentless immortal, okay? And this one pushes the games to its limits. And this is why the villain cards are very, very rare. There's not a whole lot of villain cards out there. But what's important, I don't know if you guys know this, but any orders that are made, they go through me. I make sure I know I'm the one who mails out everything, because I want to know who's got it. I want to know who's playing. And if you guys do order stuff, just a quick aside, if you want to put a comment in there for me, put a comment in there, because I'm going to get it. And if you guys want to tell me, I don't know if you want to tell me your birthday, or just tell me the month that you're born in, or whatever the case may be, I like to give zodiac cards and stuff to people too. So if you guys are interested in that, I just want to throw that out there. Okay, now back to the villain. So the villain's weakness is fear. All right, so that's all the Immortals. And I wanted to kind of go over those with you. You have to choose one of the 9 Immortals, or 10 if you choose the villain, and to build a deck around. Again, you can see I have the decks. Let me see if we can kind of do better. You have the decks up here to give you an idea. Also, I have these little packs. And since you guys watched this long, let's open one of these packs to see what's inside. These are foil packs that you can buy, but I wanted to not have the waste, so we created these openings like this, so we don't have waste, so you can reuse these little boxes, right? And then here's some cards. So we have identity, capacity, nature, fake, science, generation, vow, blame, respect, luxury, allegiance, skill, reverence, personality. Oh, and Gemini. And we have a legend card. We got Divine, the Moon's legend card in this pack. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I wanted to show you that's Genesis, the world's first time travel game. This is how to choose your immortal. There's many more rules we'll go over, but I wanted to give you guys at least an in-depth understanding of at least that part of it. And thank you so much for taking your time and listening. Take care.